Hello, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Kim Kaiser here, going live here on this Friday morning. What are we at the 17th of June? And something has occurred to me this morning, something I've been sort of steeping in this morning, and I wanted to share it with everyone. And it is the power of the next step. I was thinking this morning about how is it that in my private client containers, like, how is it that we're like essentially collapsing time, getting things done really quick, right? Like that collapsing time phrase, maybe not everyone's familiar with that, but like how are we getting results really quickly at times for people? Like what's behind that? Because it's something that happens in my world a lot, and I wanted to talk about one of the pieces why I think that actually happens. And it's really sort of two things that are a bit intertwined. And the reason I named this live The Power of the Next Step is because it is so powerful. Ah, Colleen, hello, hello. Thanks for saying hi. If there's anybody else here watching as well, say hi. I love hearing from y'all. I love hearing when you have watched the replay. I love hearing what you think about what I'm saying. But like this piece, the power of the next step is really big, because when we're going to create something, and this could be like in our businesses, which is where the realm that I work mostly with people, and or in life or whatever, like there are a couple of elements that come together. um like even when we just start out on a project, or we start out on an objective, and it's like we kind of need some idea of the direction we're going, like what is it that we want to create, right? And most people have some idea on that. And so kind of defining that in some way, and depending on things that have to do with your human design, which I won't go completely into on this particular video, but you can get that really really specific, or it can be sort of more general. And there are, two different ways to do that depending on who you are, from a human design standpoint. And then so we kind of know, like, what is it that we're wanting to create, and then how do we get there? Like those are really the two essential things that are happening in anything we're creating, anything we're manifesting, if you prefer that term. um and the piece that I think that what I bring to my clients, and why it's really why it works so fast, is that I understand the power of just the next step. Some people are much bigger on their power of the vision, like the really long term vision. And while I get a sense of the long term vision, what I'm incredibly tuned into is the power of what step is next, right? Because a lot of times, like when we when we create a long term vision, there's a lot to creating that, like the actual steps in between. There's a lot. And I think a lot of times where I see people get caught up is they think they need to have 10 steps figured out, or they think they need to have all 100 steps figured out. And what I find is that's not really true. That really the power mostly is in the very next step. And then from that step, it's the very next step. And on and on. And again, like how we take those steps is really individual. I tune into our human design on that for my clients for sure. But it's just taking next steps. And that's the piece that I see the power of the next step, right? I don't see as much the power of the long-term plan. Like that's not how I'm wired, but I see the power of that next step. And then the second thing I bring is like I have an from a human design standpoint, I have an interesting design in that I have a knowing about things. And it's kind of freakishly, it's something I've dealt with my whole life, and where it kind of made me feel a little bit freaky for a long time. And then when I came across my own human design and started to understand it, it's like, oh, that's why I have that knowing, because it's just how I'm wired. And so I kind of have that little special sauce that I can bring to things. But this is what I want to impart with you all today is Like, you might be a person who's much more tuned into your long-term vision, but you maybe find that you're not getting things done in as quickly as you want to. Like, they're not progressing. Okay. Power of the next step. Like, what is the next thing that needs to be done? Even if it seems illogical, a lot of times there's a next step that maybe the universe is pressing on us, right? You can listen to that. You can trust that. You can absolutely trust that. It may not be logical. It may not look like um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It may not look like jumping from 1 to 2. It may be something completely that looks like, well, why would I do that? But the universe presses these things on us for reasons that we can't see. Okay. We can't see unless we're tuned in, right? So we want to really tune ourselves in. I'm speaking to an audience here that most of my audience is where we're just tuned into universal principles. We're tuned into universal laws. We're tuned into things beyond what we can see. Okay. And so we want to listen to that. So you're going to tune into that, to that next step, and then take it, like really trust it and take it, and then see what to do next. Don't try to rush too many times ahead on steps, because like it just, again, the universe works in the now. It works in the present moment. It works in like universal real time, you know, not in human time, which is largely made up and very handy, right? But made up. So the universe works in universal time, so it knows what needs to be done now. Okay, and so I just want us to, as we're kind of playing with this morning, I want us to, yeah, embrace like what is, and you guys can put this in the comments. Actually, if there's something that you're trying to create, I'd love to know what it is, and what is your next step? What is the next step? Just the next one, because that's the most powerful one. The plan for ten steps down the road, fantastic if you're wired that way. But even most of us know anything big we've created and planned from step A to Z, usually when we get to Z, we look back and it didn't go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Like it didn't go that way. There actually were, again, universal nudgings, pushes in a direction. Ooh, that step doesn't look logical. I'll trust it anyway. Right. And that's really how creation works. That's really how, yeah, how manifestation works. Right. So each person, I'm speaking to people here today that are like, you already have the power to do this. You're it, like, this is a power that you already do. Like you have this. You desire and offer a little mastermind. Okay, well, I'm about to talk about something about this that might be perfect for you. Um, love the little mastermind. So that is something I'm going to talk about today, because I'm doing a Voxer mastermind for the next 6 weeks, just for creation, just for creation, right? Because I feel like I'm so in tune with the power of the next step. I'm in tune with people being in their power to take the next step, like, and being completely able to create what we all want in life. Like that's I believe in that power, right? So so this is what I'll go into, what we're doing, what I'm going to do for the next 6 weeks, and this is super cool. Like I'm super excited about it because I'm creating a very small Voxer mastermind. For people who don't know what Voxer is, Voxer is an app you put on your phone, and it's like walkie-talkie, and it's, you can put text message in it or you can put voice message in it. It's phenomenal. I do a lot of coaching in that. It's incredibly effective. And the outcome of this power of the next step, little Voxer mastermind, is the outcome is that you will have created steps by the end of July towards this thing you want to create. You're going to take steps, right? And what I bet is going to happen is you're going to collapse time around what you want to do, right? Potentially you could create what you want to create in a very short amount of time. It may not even take you the 6 weeks, but I'm just doing it for 6 weeks because that's what I feel like. That's like just my universal nudging. Okay. And so what this little Voxer mastermind piece does, what I love about this is that there aren't a bunch of scheduled calls. There's nothing we need to put on the schedule, because I just feel like, man, it's summer. I don't want anything else on the schedule. I've got certain things on my schedule. I'm not going to cancel them, but I'm not adding a whole lot of other things to my schedule. So what I love about a Voxer group is that you can just do, check in whenever you want. I'll put teachings in there, and I'm definitely going to teach about the power of the next step. There is a process that we'll go through, not heavy on steps and processes because I'm creatively and intuitively led, but I know there's certain steps we need to teach. So, it's going to be around like, what do you want to create? We're going to clear the way. What's in the way of you creating that? Implementing a manifestation mindset. Like, is there anything in the way mindset wise? And then what's your next step? And so, again, if you want to take some steps towards creating what's next, like Colleen's example that she gave in the comments was great. I desire to offer a little mastermind container next. Great. If you want to create that with me, that's fantastic. And I'm opening this just to 3 people because I am going to pull in, you don't need to know anything about human design, but I'm going to, if you're open to it, I'm going to pull in your human design because there are just a couple little keys in your human design that really help me tune in how you're going to best create and manifest. Okay, so 3 people, and it's going to be $777, 6 weeks. I'm pricing it like a 4-week little container, but I'm giving 6 because I just feel like it. Like end of July feels good to me. We're going to give it a start next week. If that's something that you're interested in, all you need to do is DM me. Really simple. We'll get you set up with a payment link and get set up on Voxer. Super easy. But I think this is going to be fun because me plus 3 people. It doesn't really matter what you're going to create. The 3 people in there don't have to create the same thing. We can create completely different things, but it's really fun. In fact, it's really fun when people are creating completely different things because someone may have an incredible idea for someone else's idea because we tend to have more creative thinking sometimes about other people's idea. So I think that's going to be really fun too. And so that's what's next here. So power of the next step. If you want to take that next step, you just have to DM me or email me. You guys know how to get in touch with me. But this is what I want us to come back to. Okay. Is there is only really ever the next step. I mean, I know that we all live with multiple things on our to-do lists, a lot of competing priorities. We've got businesses, we've got families, we've got all kinds of things that we're taking care of. And if we let all of that in to our field constantly, everything all at once, we're going to be less effective. We're not going to see the power of the next step. Right. And so the reason I'm pulling this today is like to remind you, like all you ever need to do when you like sit down at your desk or wherever you work, like all you ever need to really do is tune into that next step, like that powerful next step. And if you want support on that, I'm gonna create I'm creating this container from what is it? That would be June 20th, Monday through the end of July. If you want to just do that with someone and have that support, let's do it. Super easy. Um, I appreciate you all watching. It's always fantastic when there are people here live. I love that. Um, and if you're watching the replay, let me know. But I have enjoyed talking through the power of the next step with you. And again, like I think this is just something that's often overlooked. Mm, yeah, because people prefer many, many, many steps. But what I see day to day, the way I've helped people create a lot of money in their businesses is taking the next step and then taking the next one and then taking the next one. And then I go in there with my knowing. And that's really helpful too. But it's like that the power is in that next step. Okay, y'all have a fantastic weekend. I will come back with another live, I'm sure, either over the weekend or maybe Monday. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And love hearing from y'all. Bye.